Good morning, Nadine.
Why is it that Christmas time is such a vulnerable period?
It's the whole holiday period of December and January. It's the accumulation of many life stresses and the expectations that are set around this period. We've got a lot of struggling families, for instance, who are trying to keep up with everyone else in terms of the festive period and also in terms of managing the holidays for their children. And it becomes a very difficult operation for many. The functions of the family are sometimes reduced, particularly in impoverished single-parent families, and it becomes a hard slog. So there's a lot of psychological distresses, situational traumas, and then to keep it simple, it's just a tough period all around handling the family and the expectations that go around this period for many. And for a lot of families who are impoverished, even putting adequate tucker on the table during the festive period and also right throughout the holidays is a difficult gig.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because at this time of year, it's supposed to be the opposite. It's supposed to be love and compassion to everyone, but you don't necessarily feel that when you're feeling as if you have to meet these expectations or you've got to look after everyone else, and you just put so much pressure on yourself, you kind of forget all about what this time of the year is meant to be.
Well, you tapped into something really important, the imperative, and a moral imperative in that. And also, people need people. We always need people, and to validate the support, and we can't, get past the next post in many things where we're struggling along without the other. And you talked about love and compassion. That's what I'm hoping a lot of people can tap into. I've been trying to put out an alert for Christmas. We will do what we can in our own responses to assisting families at the coalface. But more importantly, if community, if extended family can look out and have that watchful eye for those who are actually struggling at this time. And also, and not just those who are struggling in terms of the financial, but also those who have lost a loved one in the last year. And they're going to be spending a Christmas without someone that has been with them for the most part always or for a long period of time. There is an elevated risk of psychological distress and trauma, and that can culminate. And there is an elevated risk of suicide for those who have lost a family member. And if we can all look out for them and make their lot a little bit easier, pull them in maybe, work with them through the Christmas, invite them along to have Christmas communally, familiarly, extended. That'd be a good thing to do at this time. There's no greater legacy that we can have than to improve a lot of others during a difficult period.
How much worse is the suicide risk during the holiday period for Indigenous people living out bush compared to in urban areas?
Oh, it's much worse. Look, every Christmas we're responding to suspected suicides, and it's right throughout December and January. These are the most vulnerable months of the year. Suicide and unnatural deaths are a constant narrative for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. However, they're much more pronounced during this period, sadly, tragically, and particularly in the remoter locations in the bush, in the regions. I've been responding to 3 suicides. I won't identify exactly where, but they are regional. In the last couple of weeks, a 15, a 16 and a 17-year-old Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander. Last Christmas we had a horrific spate, but that's what occurs every year. What plays out at Christmas and becomes much more pronounced is the isolation, is the impoverishment, is having lost someone in the past year. And it is the fact that others are doing it well, and you yourself may not be doing it well. And for a lot of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, that disparity also translates toxically as racism, and it hurts. It hurts psychosocially, and what we've got to do is try and be there as much as we can. At the government level, I've pushed very hard to try and resource as much as possible as we can the responders, the support services to do more than that they usually do. They do a lot. They're all overstretched and underfunded, but to do even more and be 24/7 during Christmas, but particularly for community, to just watch out for their own, to just watch out for those that they can identify, those that have lost someone recently, those who are doing it tough, and to probably lower the expectations of Christmas in terms of the consumerism, and to actually open up and welcome those who are doing it really tough, and just enjoy the camaraderie of one another. And that's the greatest wisdom that we can do, and it's a vital bridge towards helping people.
Gerry, I'm sorry, I just got a bit emotional listening to you then, so I'm just going to take a moment. I got all teary.
That's okay, Nadine. That's actually a powerful signifier, and sometimes, it's an emotion that should be let be happen, and it also, when others who are affected see that, it's more than signification. It's actually, a validation that, we all care for one another, and it's what we've got to do. That's what the spirit of humanity is. Always be yourself in that regard.
I'll try and compose myself. The Minister for Indigenous Affairs, Nigel Scullion, has authorised a critical response team. What will the team be doing on the ground?
It's part of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Suicide Prevention Evaluation Project. It's a project that is run out of the University of Western Australia with the project lead, Professor Pat Dudgeon, the Indigenous Mental Health Commissioner. I'm one of the suicide prevention researchers and one of the community consultants alongside Adele Cox, who's a Bunabagidja woman from the Kimberley, living in Perth, who's well known in the suicide prevention space now almost 20 years. Critical response will have two streams. One stream will be to engage with people on the ground where required, where identified that there are high levels of psychological distress and community distress, but particularly to assist the families with a care plan, a long-term through care plan, and the responders to take ownership of that, for us to timeline that and to make sure that the families engage with and then check with that. We'll be with them on the ground at their most difficult moments, and we'll get out to these high-risk regions, and wherever a suspected suicide has been, we've been notified of that, we'll respond within 24 hours. We'll be there immediately. We'll be on a plane if need be to be there, so it'll be a rapid response. Where we don't have to go, then we can get the responders and the clinicians and the local people and the elders to do what needs to be done, and then we check and balance that, and we equip them, and we ensure that there is a through care plan, then we'll go that path. People need people. It's not enough, and it is something, but it's not enough to rely in the ether, on the online world, on apps and phone services. At the most difficult times, we need to be there for people. The other stream will be led by Adele Cox and supported by myself, and that will be, and others, and that will be a community stream where we will be going to the high-risk regions, to the high-risk communities, and identifying what needs to be done in those communities, what more resources they need, what more services they need, and identify the people within those communities that can be trusted to mentor, lead, and help struggling families and individuals.
Gerry Georgatos, it's really important work that you and your colleagues do. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Nadine, and good Christmas to all.